So this is going to be a tough one to get around because regardless of how you word things or how clear you are, there's always going to be someone who comes out, oh, you fat incel and blah, blah, blah. It's just the typical no brain comments and this and that. So I'm not going to add in my own real personal opinions. I'm going to read it, present the evidence provided, and let you make your own. Because right now it looks like it's not that big of a deal for most people because even people who are anti woke are enjoying the game. I've done this before with things where there are woke elements to it, but it's pretty good, so I look past it. So I'm gonna let you give your own opinions and what you personally think. Okay, so let's not make this personal attacks. I'm simply wanting to know your opinions. Because like I said, most people who are anti-woke don't really seem to be talking about it. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 creative director Daniel Vavra addresses child sodomy scene. So for anyone who's been living under a rock for the past couple days, people have been saying that Hans is underage, and rightly so because he is. Born 1388, the game apparently takes place. So 1388, right here in the intro, 1403. That makes him 15 years old. Now, this is really delicate because, you know, one, they could have easily just left this out. You could have had Henry romance a person who was, not 15 years old, but then you'll have people who say, oh, well, it's historically accurate because that's just how society was back then. They didn't live long, and you had girls who were 12, 13 years old pushing out kids. And so, you know, people say, oh, we're just putting our own societal norms because I think all of us would agree that in this day and age, sexual relations with a 15-year-old are wrong. No one's denying that. But people would argue that back then, they saw that people weren't living very long. So it's like, oh, I mean, the dude died when he was 31 years old. So they didn't live long. Lack of modern medicine and constant warring and this and that. So yeah, you didn't live long. Um, but let's just read this out and see if it actually even says anything. Because a lot of times they just repeat stuff that he's already said or tweets or whatever and not adding anything new. So let's read it and see if it addresses anything. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 creative director Daniel Vavra addressed the fact that the game includes a graphic scene showing a child engaging in sodomy. It's been uncovered that the graphic scene depicting sodomy in the game actually shows a child, Hans Capone, engaging in it. It is revealed by IGN that the scene in question features Hans, with the outlet writing on Twitter, the medieval world of 1403 Bohemia can be a lonely and dangerous place, so why not make it just a bit more special by romancing everyone's favorite lord? Also, Hans was a real person, by the way. So, for people who were wondering about that, real person. Based on the codex from the first game, Hans is a teenager when this vile act takes place. Now, these are not my words. I'm simply reading. So if you're attacking me for saying vile, I'm reading an article here. Okay? Again, sex with a 15-year-old is wrong, but I'm reading the words that this person chose to write. So don't shoot the messenger here. Or you can try and just miss each time. Doesn't really matter. An entry from the Codex for Hans states that he was likely born in 1388 and died in 1419, which when he died, he was, like I said, 31 years old. It also makes it clear he is underage. As you can see, the underage son. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's opening, as you see right here, Suchtal, 1403. Also makes it clear that the game takes place in 1403. That means Hans would be only 15 years old if he was born in 1388. It's possible he could be even younger if he was born after 1388. Now, they obviously go out of their way to make him look more like an adult. Like, he looks maybe early 20s. But of course, we've seen a generational thing where each generation looks a little different. Just look at, say, your parents when they were your age. So if you're a teenager, right? Look at what your parents looked like when they were teenagers. They look completely different. And then you look at what your grandparents looked like when they were teenagers. And you're like, holy crap, how is there that vast of a difference in appearance? You know? So, times were different. Times is hard. Um, so obviously, boys had to grow up real fast. Again, lack of modern medicine really made it hard. Wars, kids being sent out, and dying young ages. So a little different. Um, website also note. Wait, yeah. Also notes that Hans did not even come of age until 1406. Machine translation states Jacek Patasek was already a 50-year-old man when his son Jan was born. He took refuge in Volna Castle. Uh, came of age 1403 or 1406 rather. Vavra responded to this discovery when one person on Twitter wrote, "If you decide you want to love scene with Hans in KCD2, you are committing a word that I probably shouldn't say, even though I did say sodomy, because Hans is 15 years old. You cannot even make this stuff up like that." He retorted, "Imagine that women at the time were married at the age of 12 and had children. Also, they needed witnesses during first sex." The individual retorted, "If you were aiming for historical accuracy, why are there no children in the game? Because they could be killed? Killing them is bad, but having sex with them is fine. Okay, bud." Again, I'm reading what they are writing, okay? So these are not my personal opinions, and it seems like people who watch these videos are so stupid they can't comprehend that they're not my personal opinions. I am reading what has been written by someone else. So if you want to attack someone, then don't even bother attack. But they're the ones saying it, or if he's the one saying. I'm just reading it, so I don't know why people hear what I'm saying when clearly I'm reading a tweet and then somehow think that I'm saying it, and that they're my personal opinions. The individual retorted, "Okay, but Vavra replied, there are no children, but Capone is a child, and you seem kind of lost." The individual replied, "So Capone is the only child in the game, and coincidentally, it is possible to have sex with him. You were lost when you designed the game." Vavra did not reply to that comment. What the actual fuck? Quite telling that the only underage romance partner in the game is the homosexual one. It tells you everything you need to know about the people. Again, I'm reading comments. Adulthood prior to 1870 was 13. There is a difference, however, between what is natural and what Vavra is promoting. Not to mention that Vavra is clearly making his game on modern sensibilities. If this bit of subversiveness would not have gained such scandalous reaction, Vavra would have no interest in making the game, let alone adding it on purpose. I'm sure the game is a wall-to-wall unforgivable blaspheming, just like the first one is, just more mask off than before. As stated in the other thread, this is Vavra's religion rearing its ugly satanic head. He reveals a bit more Talmud, but only parts at a time. His curses, this is wrong, holy shit. It's not surprising at all. What this basically confirms is that Vavra sees nothing wrong with the scene. I mean, it does make things seem a little more sketchy when you look at the fact that there are no children at all in the game. Not even, like, if you're able to go around and kill people, that's one thing, but you could make the children unkillable. I mean, that's what they do in games. Some people are able to be killed and some people can't. You know, you can attack certain NPCs and then others are just like, oh my. You know, so they could have. The fact that there's no other children in this game when historically there should have been. Um, Vavra Caven is a cuck now. Y'all a bunch of losers. Found the pedo. As for pedo stuff, 15 in the Middle Ages was considered underage. Still, for a Christian game, is another blow. No pun intended. Oh, clever. I'd be tempted to agree with you, except I haven't heard anything about the possibility of perps being stoned to death. That would lend credibility to your keeping it real argument. Again, you know, when you look at, you know, some of the facts being presented, it's like, why are there no children in the game? Like I said, if he didn't want to have children get killed, you're programming the game. You could easily make it to where none of the children get harmed. You know, if you want to go for historical accuracy, they make Hans young, but then there's like no other kids in the game. So, um, again, you'll have people about historical accuracy like, oh, well, that's how it was back then. You had little girls getting pregnant at 12, 13 years old. But, you know, you have people like, oh, well, it's still wrong because, you know, it's still depicting something, you know, because they'll place, you know, modern societal norms on it. So it's really very delicate here. That's why I'm asking for your opinions because, you know, like I said, people who are playing it don't seem to care. Or at least maybe they don't realize that he's, you know, I guess there might be some people playing it that don't realize that he is underage. Because maybe they're just playing as their first time. Maybe they didn't read the codex saying that he is underage, that he was born in 1388 or around 1388, and that it's taking place in 1403, 1402, whatever, and that would make him like 15 years old. Maybe they didn't know that. As for the people who do know that it's historically accurate, apparently the age isn't that big of a deal. You know, again, is having sex with a 15-year-old wrong? Of course it is. But apparently most people are able to just look past it because the game's good. So, you know, uh, I mean, but nowadays, you know, you'll upset someone, you know. I mean, look at all the crap nowadays. I mean, from Hollywood, they do this crap all the time with, you know, people who are underage engaging. I mean, of course, kids are gonna experiment, but isn't Henry supposed to be like well over the age of 18? Um, so I had to quickly look it up. Some people are saying he's like 15, 16 years old. Some say he's 18 or a little older. Regardless. Like I said, your opinions, because I've seen a lot of articles about this already. I've seen YouTubers talking about it already, and they're kind of giving their own personal opinions. I'm kind of leaving it open-ended. I'm trying to see it from both sides. There's fine people on both sides, great arguments on both sides. So I'm leaving it kind of open-ended. I can see where people are coming from with the whole, well, they're only 15. He's 15. But I can also see the, oh, well, it's also historically accurate because little girls were getting pregnant at like 13 years old. So that's why it's open-ended, and you guys can add in your own opinion. So, but let me know what you guys think. If you're playing the game, what do you think of it? Do you care about the 15-year-old, or, you know, you're just like, yeah, it's weird, but I'm overlooking it because it's a good game. Just let me know. Let me know. But anyway, that's gonna do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.